Welcome, everyone, to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Chrysan here on Sports Shorts, presented by LaBerge Casino. TK joining us today from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge near Parkview Baptist High School, right off Airline Highway in Jefferson. Today on Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LaBerge. We're going to talk, of course, about the women's Final Four. The field is all set. We know you're going to get your Tremonti's, party platter done and ready to go and picked up before 6 o'clock on Friday, because that's when LSU will play Virginia Tech over in Dallas in the women's Final Four, first time since 2008. I think whoever wins this game, Tommy, is just a sacrificial lamb for Iowa or South Carolina. Both those teams look to be the cream of the crop. South Carolina, of course, wins by double digits, but they don't cover against Maryland. Iowa, put up nearly 100 points in their contest the other day, and they have the best player in the world, maybe, on the women's side. So that will be the biggest, highest rated women's basketball game I think ever, South Carolina versus Iowa. And then the other one will be, Virginia Tech and LSU are playing, and whoever wins that game will probably lose by double digits. Virginia Tech, by the way, is a 1.5-point underdog to LSU. Surprised a little bit that LSU is a favorite because they've struggled so much on offense the last few games, but they're 1.5-point favorite. That's the Kim Mulkey factor. And then South Carolina is an 11.5-point favorite over Iowa. And look, I'm all about South Carolina, Tommy. I think they are fantastic. I think they probably will win, but I don't know that I like them enough to give them 11.5 against a team like Iowa who can score. So I'm going to take Iowa in the points in this one.
Yeah, I would go for that, too. I think Carolina wins, but Iowa, who can score, as you said, the three-pointers are going to be flying. And if they're going in, they're going to, I'll take that 11.5 point. Ronnie, I'll be honest, I was a little surprised when I saw that LSU was a favorite, with Virginia Tech being a but, hey, we'll see what it goes down. LSU is leaving today to head over to Dallas. There's a little send-off party, and it's an exciting time for Kim Mulkey and her team.
Yeah, I would think that, I would love to see LSU win a game in this tournament. Remember, they went to the Final Four 5 straight years in 03 to 08 and never won a game in the Final Four. And unfortunately, even though they're a 1.5-point favorite, I just don't get the feeling they're going to win again this year. But they've had the dream route to the Final Four. They've avoided the better teams. They've had the upsets. And they're getting the better draw here of the 3 other teams in the Final Four. You'd rather be playing Virginia Tech, a team who's never been to the Final Four, or at least their coach has never been to the Final Four, and any of these players have never been. Plus, they're the weaker of the 3 teams when you look at South Carolina and you look at you look at Iowa. There will be a nice crowd in Dallas, no question about it. That'll be exciting. But I do know the entire state of Iowa is going to this thing. I know multiple people from Iowa. This is, Clark is, she's Michael Jordan over in Iowa, and they are fired up. The entire state of Iowa will be driving, flying in the DFW this week.
Well, and there'll be a lot of Tiger fans. There'll be a lot of purple and gold in the building. So, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to checking that out Friday night.
All right, so there you go. LSU, 1.5-point favorite. I like Virginia Tech on the money line on this one. And then I also like Iowa getting 11.5. I think South Carolina wins, but I think Iowa is going to be able to score and stay in that game. Because let's face it, what does South Carolina do the best? They've got the best post player in the country. Well, Clark can shoot from 30 feet out. It doesn't matter, and she can drive and penetrate, and when they collapse on her, kick it out. So I can't wait to see arguably the 2 best players in women's college basketball going at it. Different styles, different ways, but it's going to be fantastic. On the men's side, there's different feelings about this Final Four. There's no blue bloods. There's no teams that were expected to win a national championship in it. These are all, upstarts and surprises. But at the same time, there's a clear favorite. UConn is a favorite, minus 125 to win the whole thing. They are they're the only program that's sort of like a blue blood in the sense that they've won national championships before, come from the Big East. So they are the clear favorite. And outside of UConn, and I know you love them, Tommy, if you had to pick one other team out of the three to win it, to surprise the world, who would it be?
I don't know. I mean, I really like San Diego State, the way they play defense. They're so physical. I like that. Florida Atlantic's got a lot of guys that have played 4 or 5 years. They got that experience that, like the San Diego State guy hit them free throws at the buzzer. I don't know, man. I think UConn's going to win it all, but I'd go San Diego State, who ironically has to play UConn in the first of the semifinal games. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be a fun weekend for college basketball. And obviously the excitement is heightened in Baton Rouge and in Louisiana.
Speaking of
that's a big thing. And
speaking of San Diego State, Tommy, with Major League Baseball starting on Thursday, you had an interesting stat you told me about the other day when it comes to San Diego State.
Tony Gwynn, Hall of Fame in baseball, one of the greatest hitters ever. For many years held the assist record at San Diego State. He was a point guard, a lefty, real smooth, and dished out some assists. I think the record got passed he held it for a couple decades. But people forget he was quite the basketball player and also one of the best hitters to ever play the game of baseball.
I knew he was a good basketball player and really good, but I didn't realize he still has the assist record. But part of that has to do with he played all 4 years as opposed to now guys, they jet. Okay, so the NCAA tournament, I'm actually leaving the men's bracket alone. I think I put a little future bet on Iowa a couple weeks ago just to get a little value. So I'm pulling for Iowa. But on the men's side, I do believe that UConn is the best team by far, and I can't really wrap my head around another one. I think if I had to, Miami would be my choice. And I say that because they've got a coach who's been in the Final Four twice now, once with George Mason, once with Iowa. They've got a team that was in the Elite Eight a year ago. They've got, and so they've got experience. So Miami would be probably my upset special if it's not going to be a team named UConn. Some other sports news to tell you about in NFL news. I was a little shocked to find out that the Green Bay Packers admitted publicly that they had no conversation with Aaron Rodgers about him coming back. Does that surprise you?
Well, I saw an interview with their general manager a couple of weeks ago, and if you just listen to the whole interview, it wasn't real long. You could see that they were all about Jordan Love, and that's what the plan, and that's where they were going forward. And this whole Rodgers thing, I mean, I just wish they'd land that plane. Okay, either, pardon the pun, get with the Jets or not, and, that one wide receiver, Lazard, who played with Rodgers in Green Bay, has already signed with the Jets. And he said, one of the main reasons I did, because I know Rodgers is going to be the quarterback. Now he's spilling beans there. And the Jets came out yesterday and said, it takes two to tango, kind of indicating that they would like him, but Rodgers is not, trying to make a deal or trying to work it out. I don't know. It's leave it to the NFL to stay in the headlines no matter what's going on. They do that 12 months a year, and right now it's Aaron Rodgers, and a lot of talk about Lamar Jackson right now. He demanded a trade from the Ravens. So NFL, even though you got March Madness, men's and women's, and Major League Baseball starts Thursday, the NFL manages to get in the headlines.
Well, the Jets came out and said they're not interested in Lamar Jackson and yesterday and said, hey, Aaron Rodgers can take as long as he needs. I think when they say the two to tango, it's more about the Packers because, quite frankly, they're the ones right now that have to agree to the trade and haven't done so. I think they're obviously holding out for as much as they possibly can get for Aaron Rodgers, and then at the last minute, if they're not getting their needs met, then they'll dump him. So it's literally a game of chicken, and it looks like to me that there's only two teams out there: the Jets and the Packers. Now, I'm surprised by that. I'm surprised that they're not maybe trying to talk to someone else, because I believe as much of a pain in the ass as Aaron Rodgers is, and there's no question he is, he's still a great quarterback, and he's still a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. So. And could turn the franchise around. I mean, imagine Aaron Rodgers with the New England Patriots. Now, him and Belichick seems like an odd mix, but, you put Aaron Rodgers on that team, all of a sudden Bill Belichick's Bill Belichick again. So I'm really interested to see what happens. Now, Lamar Jackson deal is a lot trickier, Tommy, because he's his own agent. And, I get it that you want to save that 3% or whatever the commission is that you negotiate with your guy. But when a player is his own agent, where things go wrong is not the money and not the package. Where things go wrong is players get their feelings hurt. And GMs don't talk to players when they represent themselves the same they would talk to an agent. Agents know it's just business, right? And players are the ones that take it personal. And this is a bad situation for the Ravens. I don't think they're going to get this resolved. As long as Lamar Jackson is representing himself, and clearly he's decided he's going to do this and he's not looking back, then they're past the point of no return because he's not looking at it rational. He's not looking at it as a businessman. He's looking at it as a person.
John Harbaugh, the Ravens coach, was doing a press conference when Jackson sent out the tweet about requesting a trade, and it was obvious if you saw the clip, Harbaugh didn't know about that tweet because he was at, hey, coach, what do you think about that tweet? He goes, I hadn't seen the tweet, so it was a little bit of an odd situation there. So we need to see how that comes to be. But if they trade him or whatever, they put that tag on him, which means he can negotiate with others, but they have an opportunity to match whatever is given to him by another team, or they get compensated 2 first-round picks. So it's leave it to the union and the collective bargaining agreement taking care of the players. But, I think Jackson, is making a huge mistake representing himself. You're right. It gets personal then. If I'm your agent and they're telling me, boy, Ronnie Rance really had a bad year, we can't pay him that money. That's not the same as if they're telling you, Ronnie, we can't pay you because we don't have, you had a bad year, you blew those 2 games in August, whatever. You're right. The personal thing gets in there, and that's probably one of the biggest issues with the Ravens thing.
I don't know if it would have made a difference. The Saints could not have been a player anyway with the Ravens because they just don't have enough trade capital. With Kamara's future being up in the air and not having the draft picks and things like that early in the next couple of years, the Saints would have never really been a real player for the Ravens. But I would have been curious to see if the Saints value a Lamar Jackson, who's the complete opposite of a Drew Brees or even a Carr or whatever. But I do believe, and I am one that I don't love Lamar Jackson's style, and a lot of that is tainted. I remember him at Louisville when the LSU pummeled them over in the New Year's Day bowl game. But I think he's a winner, and I think Lamar Jackson is he's beloved by his teammates, and I think he's a top 8 or 9 quarterback in the NFL when healthy, and can help a franchise go from the outhouse to the White House. I do believe that.
No, he had an MVP season year, so yeah. If he's healthy, he's an MVP. Not everybody can say that. So if he's healthy, he can certainly help a team.
Yeah, you definitely need a backup quarterback, a good one, if you're going to have Lamar Jackson. You need that Andy Dalton for sure. All right, TK, LSU Baseball taking on Grambling tonight. Obviously, it's ugly and all that. Actually, it's not even raining at the moment, but they've got the field tarp, but they'll be in action. This game's going to be a blowout. Throw a million different people. It's not even listed. You can't even bet on this game anywhere because it's just so lopsided. But Thursday night and this weekend, it's amazing, the SEC. You go on the road at A&M. You come home against Arkansas, a top 5 team in the country. Yeah, Tennessee lost 3 to Missouri the first weekend, but this is a dangerous weekend. And then don't look now, South Carolina. It's brutal, this schedule. But LSU's got some things to watch this weekend on that pitching staff. All's not so well for the Tigers.
Yeah. Now tonight, Grambling's 9-14, but they did win 3 games this past weekend in SWAC play. So LSU's got to get out there and get it done. Like Jay Johnson said, you still got to go win the game. But that Tennessee matchup, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, wow. That's going to be a tough ticket. Weather forecast as of now is very good. So I think the box will be packed with LSU fans. Tennessee will bring some fans to the box. No question about that. And that's going to be college baseball. About good as it gets, although Tennessee has dropped a little bit in the polls. They're 10, one poll, 11 another. We got so many polls in baseball. But it's still going to be big-time play. LSU's on top of the SEC West, and I guess the goal is to get 2 out of 3 again, if not all 3.
Yeah, I mean, people ask what was the goal going into the season as far as the record, and look, 20-10 is always the goal when you're at LSU, right? 20-10 most years wins you the West and the overall SEC title. I think this team is going to end up on the north side of 20-10, and that is high praise. I would never go into a season thinking, oh, this team has a chance to be 23-7. But I do believe they are going to be 20. They're probably going to find themselves somewhere around 21, 22 wins in the SEC, which should be good enough to win the whole thing. And that's pretty incredible. And if they win 21, 22 games, they'll be number one seed going into the postseason. But the league this year is really interesting. You know, what we thought we knew, we don't. I mean, how about Ole Miss being 0-6? You know, I feel for my guy Mike Bianco because he had heat on
Ole
him.
Miss and Mississippi State, the two defending
Yeah,
last two national champions, are both 0-6 in SEC
right.
play. Wow, Mike Bianco must be pulling with little hair he's got left out.
Yeah, he doesn't have much, but it's bizarre, Tommy, because you know Mike was, I thought, getting fired last May 1st. Then he goes on a great run in May and June, wins the World Series, gets an extension, all's well in Oxford. Until now, now he's like back on the hey, maybe we should have made a move. It's crazy.
Well, and here at Mississippi State, I mean, Lamonis got in there, and word is a lot of Canizero recruits. He wins the national championship, and they have totally went south, more south than Ole Miss
Right.
At this point. And look, I'll say it: Southern Miss is the best program in the state of Mississippi right now. And the Golden Eagles have been solid for many, many years, and they're clearly better than Ole Miss and Mississippi State now. Now, Rebel fans don't want to hear that, but the truth is the truth.
Well, it would definitely be interesting if Southern Miss ends up winning the national championship this year. Like
Oh,
a full
Ronnie,
sweep.
don't go. Jay Johnson's going to win. Kim Mulkey wins, Jay Johnson wins, and what's Brian Kelly do?
Yeah, no question about it. All right, well, we'll be back on Thursday. By the way, there was a little note I wanted to tell you about. I saw this was interesting. Shohei Ohtani, who, in my opinion, is the best baseball player in the world right now, pitching and hitting. And he proved that, I think, in the World Baseball Classic, in case you just needed to know. But Shohei Ohtani is going to make $65 million this year between salary and bonuses and endorsements. That, according to Forbes, the list came out. The highest paid baseball player. His teammate, Trout, don't feel sorry for him, but his teammate's only going to make $39.5 million this year is Trout.
Mike Trout. Yeah, it's amazing the money that's out there. I mean, it's generational wealth that these guys are making. It's unbelievable. Hey, Ronnie, I got breaking news for you. I got Netflix, and I watched an episode of Full Swing, the one with Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas.
Personally,
so you finally got me off the schneid. Yeah, I loved it. I'm going to watch another episode this evening. I'm hooked now. I got it on the phone and the laptop. So you coached me up on that for like 6 weeks, and it's done. I'm a Netflix guy. Full Swing. At one episode, I'm hooked. It was outstanding. I know there's a lot of other good stuff. Hey, Ronnie, we're not always at Tremonti's on a Tuesday. They got a ball crawfish special, $2.99 a pound. $2.99 a pound.
Wow.
Ready at 3 o'clock. You got to buy 10 pounds. You can't come in and get 5. 10-pound minimum. You can call and reserve them. The number's on the screen. $2.99 a pound. Last week, they sold 500 pounds on Tuesday. So get your orders in. Make sure you stop by. We're not always here on a Tuesday, but wanted to throw that out.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Already cooked and everything. That's pretty amazing.
$2.99. $2.99. You get $30. You can take 10 pounds. You can sit in here and eat them, or you can take them home.
All right. For Tommy Chrisan, I'm Ronnie Rance. We'll be back on Sports Shorts Daily on Thursday morning, which will be the opening day of Major League Baseball. We'll be talking a lot about
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning. We'll be back Thursday morning, opening day, Major League Baseball, and we'll talk plenty about the opening day. Of course, TK and I will be at the Astros versus White Sox game, so we'll obviously preview that one. And we'll give our preseason predictions, the World Series picks. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to be in the World Series. Tommy will do the same. That'll be this Thursday morning. And we'll also preview the epic matchup, Tennessee and LSU Thursday night. For Tommy, I'm Ronnie. Have a great one. Thanks for watching Sports Shorts Daily presented by LeBear's Casino.